Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today in this video, I'm going to go over how to prepare for your nursing interview so you can get the nursing job of your dreams. I'm also going to go over nurse behavioral questions that I got asked in an interview. But before I get started, don't forget to hit that like button and please subscribe. And if you're meeting me for the first time, my name is Rachel. I'm a registered nurse. And I just recently last month got a new job on the cardiac unit and had an interview. I thought this would be the best time to do this video so that way it's fresh in my mind and I can give you all the tips and tricks that I learned. So first I want to go over how to get prepared for your nursing interview. If you feel like you're already prepared and you want to skip this part of the video, I'll put here at the bottom of the screen where to go to next so you can go over the interview questions with me. But for all of you who are new grads or experienced nurses that just want a refresher, keep watching. First thing I want to go over is dressing to impress, hence this outfit. I got dressed up for you guys. I just wanted to show you kind of what I would wear in an interview and what I have worn in the past. Usually I just wear like a nice professional top, a skirt. Sometimes I wear like a business suit type of situation with like a little bit of a jacket. You only get once to make a first impression. So try to wear business professional attire. And for guys, it's usually a tie, a suit, or just business casual. What you don't want to wear is jeans and a t-shirt or sneakers. Don't do that. Also, don't wear scrubs. I see a lot of nurses wear scrubs to their interviews. You don't want to do that because then it looks like you're not even looking for a job. It's better to look like you put some effort in rather than just running in after work. And also try not to wear anything revealing. You want to look as professional as possible, like the perfect person for this position. My aunt, who is a lawyer, she used to say, looking good is half the battle, and I really think that's true in this situation. Second tip is to show up early to the interview or the hiring convention because this shows your future employer that you can arrive on time. And that reminds me, if you're a new grad nurse or even an experienced nurse, one of my big tips is definitely go to those hiring events. I remember I actually got my first hospital job going to a hiring event and I didn't know anybody. They're definitely helpful. You can build some connections. Usually you land an interview or a job that day. The events are usually listed on like websites like Indeed, LinkedIn, Glassdoor. You just look up hiring event in the search bar and usually they'll come up. If they're not showing up, you can always go to the hospital that you want to work at, their website, and usually they'll have the next hiring event listed. If it's not there, you can always contact HR for that hospital and they usually tell you when the next hiring event convention is. My third preparation tip is to bring an updated resume, cover letter, reference letters, and put them in a little staples folder. It can be plastic to give to the person that you're either interviewing with, or if you're at that hiring convention, you can give them out to potential employers that you'd like to work for. This will help set you apart from people who only have a resume or don't even have a resume and aren't even dressed up for the event or the interview. Also, side note, if you don't have an updated resume and you're like loathing the idea of trying to make one from scratch or update your old one, what I did is I went to myperfectresume.com. This video is not sponsored by them, but they definitely helped me because they have templates for resumes, cover letters, and you can just put all your information into their template and it kind of tells you step by step what to fill out. They even have templates that are specific to healthcare workers in general, especially nursing, that you can use. And if this information that I'm giving you is helpful or making sense, please comment down below, yes, it's helpful, just so that I know that these videos are helping you guys. When you're in that interview, make eye contact, smile, sit up straight. I'm not sitting up straight, but I probably should. This betrays confidence. Don't be slouching in your chair like this and like on your phone. And yes, because of COVID, a lot of interviews are happening on Zoom. Definitely still do all these things. Okay, so let's go over some interview questions that you might come across. Almost always the first question that they're going to start out with is, tell me a little bit more about yourself. This does not mean go on a tangent and talk about your dogs and you're married and talking about all those personal things. That's not what they want to know. A lot of people get scared on how to answer this question because it is scary and I felt the same way, but this is the time that you get to shine in this interview. And if you answer it in the right way, this will give your employer so many reasons to hire you and only you. So if you're a new grad, what I did for my first nursing interview is I told them where I went to school, when I was graduating, when I was taking the NCLEX, where I did my preceptorship, what floor it was on, why I loved it so much. I also included work experiences like a CNA or an NA or a PCA or a tech. But even if you don't have work experience in a hospital, you can always go back to like your clinicals in school and what you loved most about them. And if you're an experienced nurse like me, you can always focus on your previous work experience as a nurse. You can also focus on nursing certifications that you have, your degree. The second question is, why did you become a nurse? For everyone, the answer to this question is a little bit different. So make sure that you sit down, take some time to really think about what made you become a nurse. Just remember that the answer has to be deep and it has to be meaningful for them to remember you. They want to make sure that they're hiring someone that is kind and compassionate, dedicated to the nursing profession and what it means to be a nurse. They also sometimes ask, why did you leave your last position? For some of you, like new grads, this doesn't apply. But for others, you could say something like you were looking for a better opportunity or looking to advance your career and specialize in a specific type of nursing. Whatever applies to you at this time, that's what you should say. Just try to always end things on a positive note. If you don't get anything from this video, always end the answers to these questions that they ask you on a positive note. And if you need to take time to answer a question or think of an answer, that's okay to say too. Just say, can you just give me a second to think about it? Or you could always say, can we come back to that question? That's what I always like to say. They'll also ask you a question like, tell me why you are not the best candidate for this position. This is a trick question because they want you to go down a path of like, oh, I'm not the best because I don't have enough experience, or I'm just not qualified. They'll start to think, oh, maybe this person isn't qualified. But what you want to say is, I am the best candidate for this position, and tell them why. Even if you aren't 100% qualified or don't have the best experience for this position, you want to focus on the things that you do have. Are you a team player? Are you coachable? Are you eager to learn? Are you a positive person? One of my favorite questions is, tell me about a time when you failed. Take a minute to think about that. When answering this question, tread with caution. You want to answer it using a school example or a work example, but make sure that this example had a positive outcome, or you solve the problem and you learn from your mistakes. They want to see how you do with challenges and how your mistakes make you a better nurse. Sometimes they'll ask you this, but they usually stay towards the behavioral nursing questions. It's also good to go over your strengths and your weaknesses. Another good question is, how did you put the team's needs above your own? This doesn't even have to be a specific nursing answer. This can actually be from your previous job experience, and you can say, I worked at a grocery store and I stayed late to help stock shelves. Another big question that they ask is, tell me about a time that you had a conflict with either, they'll say, patient, a healthcare worker, a healthcare provider, another nurse, and how did you resolve this problem? So even if you can't think of a situation right on the spot, you can always say how you would handle a conflict if it did come up. So you can just say, well, if I did have a conflict with someone, I would always go up to them and talk to them about it and try to resolve. If that didn't work and it kept going on and it threatened patient safety or it was really making me uncomfortable, then I would go to the charge nurse and go up the chain of command. Also, another good question is, tell me about a time that you were in an emergency and what did you do? This is a good question to gauge how you act under pressure. If you don't have a certain situation for this, you could always say, well, in my CPR class, we went over what to do when someone stops breathing or their heart stops and go into that. Or you could also say, in clinicals, we went over what to do if this and this happens. You don't always need a specific situation to answer a question. Another good question is, why do you want to work here? So when you answer this, you want to make sure that you are looking at their mission statement. That shows that you're actually putting time and effort into researching the hospital and trying to figure out what they're about. Another good question that I've been asked is, where do you see yourself in 5 years? When you answer this question, you also want to stick to career. So whether that means you want to be a nurse practitioner, go back to school while you're working for them, you want to get your nursing certification in a specific area, take up a leadership role in your unit, whether it's being charge nurse or let's say a falls champion, or getting involved with a specific nursing council. They want to see that you're not just going to be a nurse that sits there and is just happy where you're at, not wanting more, not wanting to strive to be better. They want someone who's going to be involved in their hospital. So at the end of the interview, they're going to ask you, do you have any questions for us? Make sure that you ask questions because it shows that you're interested. Some questions that you can ask them is, what will my schedule be like? Is it going to be day shift, night shift, rotating shifts? Don't even get me started on rotating shifts. Whew. Is it going to be 12-hour days? Is it going to be 10-hour days, 8-hour days? All these things 5 days a week, 3 days a week, weekends off, holidays off, not off. All these things are important to ask. What software do you use? Because I don't know about you, but I love working with Epic. I don't like working with like Meditech or MedHost. I'm just not a huge fan. And this is probably the most important question to ask because it really makes the interviewer think, wow, this person isn't just interested in this position, they're interested in how I feel, which is very important. And it's good for you to ask this because it gives you a first person perspective on what it's like working at that hospital and what it's like working on that unit. So you need to ask the interviewer, what do you like most about working at blank hospital as a blank nurse, whether it's ER or ICU, GI, you name it. That really gets them thinking like, what do I like about working here? And it kind of puts a positive view of you in their mind. And then at the end of the interview, when they ask you, do you have any more questions? I always say, no, I don't, but I just wanted to say thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to interview me. These interviewers have to interview so many people, and it's always nice to get a thank you. And then I say, do you know when I will hear back about the position? Once you get off the phone, a couple days later, I always send a thank you email to either HR or the interviewer if you have their email saying thank you so much again. So that way, you know, you're fresh in their mind and they remember like, oh, that person was so nice. I loved interviewing with them. And I just want to remind, especially the experienced nurses, if you're interviewing a position and you really like it and it sounds awesome on paper, just remember if you're interviewing and you just feel like it's not the right fit for you, don't be afraid to just keep going through with the interview, and at the end, you know, just realize like if they still offer you the position, because they might, say thank you so much for the opportunity, but I don't think this is going to be the right fit for me. And that's okay, because I've had that happen to me where I'm interviewing for something and I realize, you know, this probably isn't going to be the right fit. So that's all the interview tips that I have for today. If you like this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you like cool photos, follow my Instagram. I'll leave the link in the description below. I'm gonna end this video. That is all the tips and tricks that I have for you. I hope you do awesome in your nursing interview. Scratch that, you are going to do awesome in this nursing interview since you prepared with me. If you guys like getting money off bikinis, I'm gonna include in the description some awesome exclusive promo codes that you can use at Kappa Crew, and you can get like 25% off all of their stuff. Kappa actually donates 5% to Saving the Oceans. You get an awesome bikini and you get to save the ocean. What's not to love? And until next time, I'll see you later. Bye.